How's it going, everybody? Bryan, Alvarez, and Dave Meltzer here. Wrestling Observer Radio, June 18, 2020. Figure4online.com/WrestlingObserver.com. We got a lot of news to get into here today, as always. Follow up from Monday. WWE taped today, although apparently not everything. SmackDown for next week is being delayed. The show for this Friday already taped.
They're going to tape that. The show for this Friday was taped on Monday, so the show on the 26th, they're going to fly everyone back on the 26th. So the SmackDown people stayed 2 extra days and ended up not being taped because what happened was they weren't going to start taping until they got all the test results back because they didn't want to put anyone in case somebody failed. So it led to starting much later than expected, and they didn't have time for SmackDown. So that's what happened there. And they taped Raw, 205 Live, and Main Event. And then they were also taping the 2 NXT shows at I guess at Full Sail. So they were 2 different locations. So NXT was pretty much live tonight, and which was pretty tricky, and it didn't really, because you had a live show with announcers in 3 different parts of the country, and they pretty much were. I mean, I didn't really notice any problems with it at all. I mean, the announcing was, as far as like nobody stepped on each other or anything like that, or just had problems being live or technical issues. And they do a real good job with that. I mean, as far as the technical stuff, that Mauro Ranallo and Beth Phoenix aren't there because they never show them. But when you listen to the commentary, you really wouldn't know it. So that aspect of it's really good.
So I guess the big question is, now that everyone has been tested...
There's a lot of questions.
Well, there's a lot of them, but... All right, so everyone got tested. Great. Now what? Are they going to be taped? Are they going to be tested again before every show? Are we going back to the forehead checks? Is this just,
I don't know.
Hey, we'll do it one time until somebody fails again, or what's going on? No one knows?
I don't know. No one's going to know until, let's see, when would we know? A week from Friday would be the next time, because there's no tapings early in the week because they're already done. So June 26th will be the answers to that. I guess we could ask, but... usually
I guess usually we'll know the answer when we find out when everyone gets flown in. Because if they get flown in on Friday, then clearly they're not testing everybody because they're not going to get the results back. They would have to be flying everybody in like Wednesday to get the results back on Thursday, or at the latest, early Thursday.
Yeah. Interesting. You're right. They would have to fly everyone in early. They'd have to get in on early Thursday to be able to get people. Yeah. So I guess that's the answer. So
we've heard.
So Kevin Owens will not be on this coming Monday's Raw because he opted not to stay, even though he lives in the area, but not to come because they do have that. They were told that if you don't want to come, you don't have to come. And his wife's grandfather just passed away from COVID, like in the last couple of weeks. And so the family was just a little bit for the obvious reasons, very concerned about him working with somebody who had just tested positive in that building. So my impression is that he will be, when they come back, which would be the 29th, that he would be back. So I think it's just going to miss 1 week of TV. But the stories that were going around that he missed TV are true.
Well, I guess there's nothing else really to talk about till we get more. They've taped everything, so we've heard nothing about results or anything like that, except Mojo.
What happened to Mojo?
No, he just tweeted that he passed or something like that.
I'm sure everyone passed, or most people passed. Yeah, they did the nose tests, not the throat tests, for whatever reason. The throat tests, from what I understand, are the most accurate of the tests. It's the ones the UFC does. So whatever. What else did? It was interesting that they made that WWE's made some statements that they didn't really say anything in the statements, but I guess that some of the fans denied about the idea that they were told not to wear masks. But man, I heard from so many different people that story, that it was like, if you want to wear a mask, don't come. And I mean, if you just look in now, granted, I looked at AEW and there were people with masks, but there were not many. But with WWE, there was nobody. So evidently, it's strongly discouraged, because it's weird, because I watch New Japan and literally everyone's got it. UFC, everyone but Dana has it. But it's again, that's the difference between UFC. It has to do a lot with the regulations. I mean, when you're under regulations of an athletic commission, they're going to be a lot more strict. I think most of the commission states that govern wrestling are going to be a lot stricter than Florida, which has no commission. I mean, and you're pretty much allowed to do whatever you want in Florida when it comes to this stuff, really. Because, I mean, there was a show last night in Port Richey, Florida, and somebody, it's supposed to be social distancing, and somebody sent me a picture, and it was, man, boy, it was not social distancing. People were all over each other. And, they are, at these shows, too. So, it's just different. It's so weird, watching Japan, where, the number of cases is minuscule compared to pretty much anywhere in the United States, and certainly Florida. And all these, they have, everyone with masks, everyone, no wrestlers at ringside, and the announcers are 6 feet away from each other, and with glass in between. And it's, just different levels. That's all. I mean, I think through this whole thing, we have seen, New Japan definitely has had a different mentality than the companies in the United States about this.
Well, before we talk about New Japan and
did you see the Tanahashi promo?
I did see the Tanahashi promo.
Wasn't that unreal?
Let's do the Raw ratings here real quick. Then we'll go all into New Japan.
Okay. The ratings were up for Raw significantly. It was the best number since the day after WrestleMania. The gains were mostly over 50. The 18 to 49 number was actually identical to the week before, when the number was considered terrible. So, but there was an increase in teenage girls, not teenage boys. But most of the increase was, over 50, which has to do, I'm going to guess, with Ric Flair, Christian, Big Show, all being brought in. And the idea of Christian having a match, and Flair, Flair was in, I think, 3 segments. So I think that's probably some of it. It's probably Christian the most, though, because they opened the show with the Christian thing. They promised the match, and people stayed for hour 3. I mean, that's the one thing, is although the staying for hour 3 at a higher rate, it was still, the first to third hour drop was slightly lower, but not much. In most demos, the only demo really where you didn't have was over 50. The drop was very minor, and that's why it overall stayed up, because most of the audience is over 50. So it also it looks to be, given the number of viewers and the 18 to 49 number. I don't have the average viewership, but if you look at those two numbers, you can see that the average viewership was probably the oldest, maybe, of any Raw show in history. Certainly of the Raw shows of late. But it is still more people, but it's more older people.
All right, so this Tanahashi promo on the 15th, this was after the return show, so this was not part of the New Japan Cup yet, but he cuts his promo basically explaining that we're back and we're not able to have fans yet, but hopefully we will very soon. And as he's talking about the fans and what the fans mean to him and the other wrestlers and how they've learned with this empty arena show how much the fans mean to him, he breaks down into tears. He's crying about the fact that the fans are not allowed to watch these shows right now, and he just says, I hope that they get to come back soon, you know, our sport and all of these other sports, and I'm gonna go out there for this tournament, and I'm just gonna do my best for you fans. I was like, my God, look at this guy. What an incredible
babyface promo.
Oh yeah, and it didn't come across as like, you know, phony or insincere and granted it was subtitles, but I mean it was unbelievable. Unbelievable promo.
Yeah. The Taichi promos were pretty funny too. He was like making fun of all the weight Tanahashi's gained and said that like what did he say on today's promo? He was he was talking about how Tanahashi like loves the fans and loves
definitely loves the fans. I can confirm
how Tanahashi loves the fans and loves wrestling. And Taichi did a promo. It was kind of a heel promo, hating love. He says love is weakness. Love causes you to do really stupid things. And he starts going like, you know, love's like those stupid girls that like Tanahashi. It was pretty funny. And Zack Sabre did a promo with Taichi the day before, and he was just like going like, you know, you're better looking than Tanahashi and stuff. It was pretty good. They had some good promos.
Well, the only match that I've seen thus far, and I'm sure it's the only match worth seeing, Suzuki versus Nagata.
That's not true. The second night, the first night of the New Japan Cup, was a really good show. The second night
was there anything better?
No. Suzuki Nagata is the best match so far.
Okay,
but the 6-man tag or the Tanahashi match was tremendous the night before. I mean, absolutely tremendous. And then they had Hiromu Takahashi got a match out of Honma that was, I mean, it's not like it's a great match, but it's pretty damn good. And it's so much better than I would have expected it. And Ishii and Desperado had an absolutely great match. But yeah, Suzuki and Nagata were in the 6-man. That was incredible. And it was basically when they were in, they did the exact same thing they did in their match that was today. Yeah, Suzuki and Nagata was pretty.
They get
pretty
in
great.
there, and this is an empty arena match, so this is like a perfect match for these two. They just forearm each other for like 4 straight minutes, to the point where, like, I thought, are they just going to forearm each other until one guy falls down and that's going to be the finish? Because that looks like where they're going here. They forearm each other for like 4 straight minutes, then they start slapping each other for like 3 straight minutes. And then finally Nagata throws one kick and Suzuki puts him in a knee bar and he goes to work. And he just tortures this guy and he throws him outside and he throws the ref around and starts beating the shit out of Nagata with chairs and buckets. He throws him back in the ring and Nagata fires up with all of his facials and they do more striking battles. And finally Suzuki puts him in the choke and it looks like Nagata's going out. But he fights and Suzuki lets go, tries to cover, and Nagata kicks out. Suzuki goes back for the choke again. Nagata fights free, and then Suzuki tries the duck under into the choke, but Nagata switches, hits him with a bridging back suplex, and pins him. I didn't write down one word of this match. I remembered like every single part of it because it was so simple. But like everything that they did, like fighting for this Gotch pile driver, just this battle over a pile driver, the chops, the strikes, this was just the greatest.
Yeah, it was a tremendous match. Yeah, the best match of so far since they've been back. And But the bad part is we don't get Okada and Suzuki. It's out because Nagata won. That was the only upset in the first round. Every other match went like you would expect. Now, the Okada-Gedo match totally sucked. It was so horrible. Oh, wow. It was so bad. It was like, I mean, I guess it's like, it's essentially Okada against a manager. So there's limits on what you can do. And, but it went too long. I think that, what did they go? They went like, it felt like forever. It felt like they went for a month, but it was only... I
don't think they went for a month.
It was only 16 minutes.
Definitely not a month.
15 and a half minutes. But they really should have gone 7 minutes. But the thing is that because it's Okada, this is the deal. Because it's Okada, it had to be the main event. And they're not going to do a 5-minute or a 7-minute main event, especially following Suzuki and Nagata. So it was every trick in the book. I mean, Gedo had like 90% of the offense because he kind of had to. But Okada was just selling way too much. I mean, it's the only way the match could work because once Okada got offense, it's kind of like he should finish him right away because it's Gedo and he's a manager. So he couldn't really get much offense. So it was like, Gedo doing low blows, Gedo doing brass knuck shots, things like that over and over and over again. What else did he do? Yeah, low blow. And it was hitting him. We hit him with a hammer. The ref finally took the hammer away. Then, another low blow. He had brass knucks hidden by the ring post. Then when he used them, he put them like he hid them around the ring somewhere. Jado came out. I thought that was, and he went for, what did he go for? I think he went for like another brass knuck shot, and Okada ducked that one, hit 2 drop kicks, tombstone, and then Okada beat him with the head and arm choke. Not the Rainmaker, so I guess that they're going to try to establish the head and arm choke as another finisher for Okada, which is just fine. That was that sucked. The first night, which was yesterday's show, they had Makabe and Yota Tsuji, which Makabe won with a German suplex. This was real good. About what you would expect, maybe a little bit better because Tsuji's just hard hitting. Everything looked good. Actually, like this match, to me, it's like I'm watching this and it's just like the matches on the first night where you just go like these guys, like the empty arena, even though like there's no crowd heat, it looks so much like a sport and it works so much like a sport that you don't. It's like watching UFC without a crowd. It doesn't really hurt that much in this match. Now, the next match, which was Toru Yano and Jado without a crowd, that was freaking atrocious. That was actually worse than Okada and Gedo because poor Jado just cannot move. And Yano's doing all the comedy, but without fan reaction, the comedy just sucks. So the less said about it, the better. But Gedo tried to interfere with the brass knucks. Yano ducked. Jado went for a kendo stick shot. It ended up with Yano low blowing both guys and cradling Jado. So Yano advanced. So Makabe and Yano. Is it Makabe and Yano next? No. So the second round, it's Makabe and Ishii, which they're going to tear that. That's going to be an incredible match. And then Yano is going to be facing Hiromu Takahashi, which will be a pure comedy match. I just hope Hiromu wins because I don't need to see Yano in empty arena matches. It doesn't work well. And then the next one was Tanahashi, Ibushi, Nagata, and Yuya Uemura against Taichi, Zack Sabre, Suzuki, and Kanemaru, which ended with Kanemaru hitting Uemura with a whiskey bottle and Suzuki pinning Uemura with a gotch pile driver. This match was great. They had a great post-match brawl. Nagata and Suzuki were just everyone. They kind of broke down into the next round. Their matches. So it's like Ibushi's working with Zack, Of course they're going to be good. Tanahashi worked a lot with Taichi, which was mostly Tanahashi selling his knee, and Tanahashi was just like incredible. Taichi did this thing. So Zack held Tanahashi like from behind, and Taichi then gave him a dragon screw, but he couldn't like take the bump because he was being held, to making the dragon screw look even worse. And then Suzuki put him in a knee bar. Taichi's throwing the chair to the knee. Suzuki's throwing chairs to the knee and the hip. Taichi and Zack Sabre grabbed the tag belts and were taunting him. So Taichi and Sabre's, I actually thought that Taichi might win the tournament, but they're going so hard with the Taichi and Sabre versus Tanahashi and Ibushi feud that I think that they're going to be doing a tag title match probably at Dominion, which means that neither of them can win the tournament. In theory, I don't know. That's just kind of how it's all looking, because they're going so hard, with grabbing the tag belts. So that'll be great too when they get to that. Then Tanahashi came back with Dragon Screw and Sabre and got the hot tag to Bushi. Nagata and Suzuki just started killing each other. It was a great match. It was a great post-match. Nagata and Suzuki did another great exchange after the match until Gabriel Kidd broke it up, and Zack was taunting Ibushi. Zack and Taichi were beating down Ibushi, and then Ibushi recovered and sprinted to the back after them. Tanahashi got laid out by Taichi's Dragon Sleeper, and then Suzuki just walked past Tanahashi and hit him with a chair. It was crazy. They have a new wrestler coming named Grand Master. I think it might be Hirai Kawato, who's been in Mexico for it seems like forever. He was really good before he left. He didn't do shit in Mexico, though. But it's time for him to come back. Then Honma and Hiromu Takahashi. Like, this match was so much better than you would think. I mean, Honma is so limited in what he can do, but Hiromu was just fantastic. But it was not the caliber of most Hiromu matches. That's why I'd like to see, because he's in here with Honma, and then the next round it's like he's going to be with Yano, and so he's not going to have that good of a match with Yano either. It's going to be tough. It'll probably be okay, but if he can win that, then he's going against probably Ishii, and Ishii and Hiromu will like, they could have like a freaking match of the year. And then Ishii and Desperado had a really great match. It was, with the exception of Bryan Danielson and or Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, as far as just a pure wrestling match during this pandemic, this would have been better than it wasn't better than that, but this would have been better than almost any other match. This match was so good. And then, that was the main event. Ishii won with a brainbuster. But it was worked so well because Desperado, Desperado's not beating him. You know that. Yet, when you watch this match, there was 6 times where you actually thought that Desperado was going to pin him, because he kicked out so last second every time. And also, just the way the setups were and everything, you believed that they were the finishes. So incredible amount, just incredible stuff by both guys. Really good match. Then today's opener was Gabriel Kidd and Ishimori. Man, it was fine. Nothing special. Then Kanemaru and Uemura, which was fine. Kanemaru going over, Ishimori going over. So the bottom of the bracket, next round, it's going to be Okada against Nagata, which will be a great match. And it'd be different from both Okada and Nagata's first round match. It'll be completely different. It'll enable Okada to do his normal style match, and Nagata won't have to do just the slap fest. He'll be able to do a complete match. So it should be great. And then the other one's Kanemaru and Ishimori, who are normal tag partners, and they'll be good. And then they had it was Goto, Yoshihashi, Sho and Yo over Sonata, Evil Bushi, and Shingo Takagi. Goto pinned Bushi with the Yeah, not GTS, but what's it called? GTR. And it was good, but it was nothing compared to the multiple person match the night before. And then, the Suzuki match and the Okada match. So that's the deal with the New Japan Cup. The first night was like the show is it's 2 hours and they have an intermission. So it's actually, if you fast forward through the intermission, it's probably like hour 45. It breezes by that first night because everything is good other than the Jado match. And even, well, I would say it's not so long that it's bad, but it's still bad.
Well, on a totally different note, what's the update on the urine tossing?
Oh, so it aired on the East Coast, but not the West Coast. Fox decreed that it violated their standards and practices, so they threw a commercial in. So we didn't get to see it on the West Coast. That's what that was all about.
Will they clear this stuff first? I mean, I guess I should know the answer to that question.
Evidently they didn't, because it aired on the East Coast live. It wasn't. And wait, they weren't live on Friday, but I guess they just ran it. I guess they didn't know that urine tossing is not allowed on the Fox network during a wrestling show, and now they know, so they can't do it anymore.
All right, UFC this coming Saturday night.
Let's see. So let me get the show this week. It's Alexander Volkov and Curtis Blades in a heavyweight bout. So this is it's a key match because really, so the heavyweight division, it's pretty much Cormier and Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou were like the big three. And Cormier and Stipe are fighting in August, and Ngannou will get the winner. Then the next guy after that is most likely going to be the winner of this fight, whether it's Volkov or Blades. Blades is a good wrestler. Volkov is the better striker. So it's whoever can implement their game plan has a good shot at winning. I think Volkov should win this. But, that's the main event. It's interesting. It's another one of these things where it's not a lot of star power, but the last Saturday was not a lot of star power. It was an entertaining show, and it did a pretty damn good rating. Not a great rating, but it was over 900,000 viewers for no star power show. That's not too bad. Here, there's a couple. Josh Emmett and Shane Borges in the semi is actually a really good fight. They're not big names, but they're both like really good. So that's a good one. Third from the top is Raquel Pennington and Marion Renault. Marion Renault is fighting on her 43rd birthday, which to me sounds like a bad idea, but she's looked good. School teacher. Bilal Muhammad and Lyman Good. This is Lyman Good's first fight since getting COVID. Roosevelt Roberts and Jim Miller at 160. Roberts is a young guy on the way up. Jim Miller is a guy on the way down, but very experienced, one of the most experienced guys in the UFC 40. This will be his 46th fight, and I don't know what the number in UFC is, but he's probably had more fights in UFC than all but a few guys historically, maybe more than almost anyone. Clay Guida still around at 38 years old against Bobby Green. Tish Torres and Brianna Van Buren. So those are the top bouts on the show. It's a show. Starts a little earlier, 5 p.m. Eastern this time. So it's going to end a little earlier than most weeks, which is for the better.
All right, what did you think of the two shows Wednesday night?
AEW was pretty entertaining. I think that the interesting thing, it didn't feel like a big rating show, but it certainly felt like a show where they have their act together and had a lot of ideas for, certainly introducing new people to the show and having mostly really good matches. So I thought AEW was a real easy show to watch. but I didn't feel like the thing, like something that's going to draw big ratings. NXT, it's really obvious now that, to me, that, Vince is taking interest in it. We had a throw-up scene. We had, a build for, they're really building for, the championship stuff on TV, and in particular, winner take all, the NXT and North American Championship. They're going to do unless they do a draw, they're going to do the unification on July the 8th, which is head-to-head with Fyter Fest. So that'll be the main event on the 8th. Probably Adam Cole and Keith Lee, unless they switch the belts. They're going to do next week is a three-way with Keith Lee, Johnny Gargano. So that explains why did Johnny Gargano lose the first time then? But whatever. That explains why Johnny Gargano won the tag match. And then the third guy is, Finn Balor. So the winner of that will then face Adam Cole for the championship. So that was the main storyline on NXT.
AEW opened up with the Natural Nightmares and Hangman and Omega for the AEW tag team titles. Had a very good title match.
Other than that bonking head spot.
They did a spot early.
Well, it was Omega need Dustin in the head is what is that.
Omega was trying to do his flip out of the corner, and Dustin's rushing in. And as he goes through the flip, the timing was just off, and he just clobbered Dustin with this knee. And honestly, they should have taken a look at this guy, because Dustin's kind of stumbling around, and he looked like he was not in good shape for a few minutes there, but he got back into the match.
He actually looked great in the latter stages of the match, though.
He ended up all right, but I mean, when he first got hit, he's stumbling around, he's holding his head. He didn't look good.
It didn't appear to me he was knocked out as much as he was just hurt. I mean, but he could have been. I mean, I don't know, but he didn't he didn't look. He looked more like he just was hurting than his lights went out. The way he stumbled, but it was just but yeah, he just looked like, oh fuck, I got hit in the head hard. But yeah, I thought Dustin was really good in this match. 2 minutes later, and at the end, him and Omega, him and Paige. The match was really good. Allie came out, so they're doing the Allie stuff. Where QT's in love with Allie and kind of gets screwed up, and QT, just basically took his eye off the ball and lost. Is the storyline.
Next, we had an Anna Jay video package, and she's making her big debut here, I guess.
Not debut, just
her debut since signing, I guess you could say.
Yes, since it'd be the first match since they signed her a contract. But I mean, she's been very noticeable at ringside at every show. But yes. So she I think is it her second match? The first match was Sheeta. I mean, as far as on Dynamite, she's been on.
This will be your second match on Dynamite.
Yeah.
So she faced the debuting on Dynamite Abaddon, and they do a match. Abaddon totally squashes her from the opening bell, beats the hell out of her.
Abaddon just destroyed her, yeah.
Move after move, Hurricane Rana face plant, gets the pin. So
they're trying to make Abaddon into this monster woman because she looks completely different from every woman on AEW or WWE. There's nobody,
and every man.
Yeah, she's like a throwback to I don't even know what, but from the old days where you would have these monster looking people. She's from that era. There's nobody
she's a throwback to. She's a throwback to when I first broke in with Tim Flowers, and Dr. Luther was there with the Army of Darkness, which consisted of Paul Lazenby and a fella named Abaddon. So I'm presuming that's where this name came from, and she's got the same Army of Darkness gimmick. So I don't know if Luther will end up involved in AEW, but
Luther's in AEW.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if he's going to be involved with her in AEW.
Oh yeah, that I don't know.
But that's the gimmick here. So
yeah.
Then the Dark Order comes out, and they're trying to recruit Colt Cabana and Anna Jay, and they gave Colt Cabana an envelope, and then the Creepers help Anna Jay out of the ring. I hope the plan is not to put a mask on Anna Jay.
They're not going to put a mask on Anna Jay. I promise.
Good.
They will not do that. That would be as silly as putting a mask on Tanahashi.
MJF and Billy Gunn. We have Britt Baker in the ring. She keeps she's in the crowd. She's texting messages to Tony from her throne. MJF.
She's not texting him. She didn't do the line thing.
The what?
Can you see that? They have this conveyor belt looking thing where she puts the message on the conveyor belt and they pull the conveyor belt and it goes to Tony, so he picks the message up off the conveyor belt.
Well, for sure later she was texting Tony.
Oh, yeah. She was texting Tony when she was in the garbage can, yeah.
Yes,
that's true. But when she was sending the messages, this was like clever. I mean, I don't know if it's clever. It was just funny to see that they had this little contraption set up where she would put this thing on this rope and Tony would have to read it and get all flustered and everything. It's the Britt Baker stuff with Tony's a pretty good act. I like it.
So MJF jawed with Jungle Boy in the front row briefly, and then we'll get to the pull apart later. But it's a Billy Gunn match. He's 56 years old or something like that. Obviously limited, so it was more just a bunch of storytelling. He's real strong. He wouldn't sell anything. MJF clips his leg, works over his leg for a little while. Aubrey and MJF start yelling at each other. They do some old school spots, kicking the arm off the ropes. Wardlow gets involved. Billy punches Wardlow. Wardlow punches Billy's son. Billy throws Wardlow into the barricade. MJF hits the punch with the ring, and he gets the pin. Story was good.
Wardlow threw the ring into the ring for MJF,
yes.
And then he, basically knocked him out with a punch and beat him. Yeah,
they did everything that you could do if you're going to have a match with Billy Gunn.
I guess
basically what happened here.
Yeah, I mean it worked for what it was. I mean it was. I wasn't a particularly great match though, but it was about what you would expect. Billy Gunn is huge, by the way. I mean, like you see him on TV and he looks really big, right? In person, I saw him. God, let me think. It was a few months ago, but we were at the same restaurant. The guy is freaking huge. He's like 6'5", 270, around big guys. He's like a big guy around big guys. He's just, that's about it. I mean, he's just whatever at that age, man. I don't know, but he's bigger than he was when he was, Mr. Ass Billy Gunn 20 years ago. I don't say much bigger, but he's definitely bigger.
After the match, we got a very non-socially distanced pull-apart with Jurassic Express, MJF, Wardlow, and about 50 guys that ran out to break up this brawl.
I mean, the thing is, they're definitely trying to set up, and they've been building this, Wardlow and Luchasaurus, and, of course, Jungle Boy and MJF are, being set up to go at it again at some point, probably many times, over the years. If AEW continues, I would guess that we'll probably be seeing these guys wrestle each other 30 times over the next however many years or more.
We had Marvez with Jericho and Sammy. Jericho says Blood Orange was juice
last
week.
Wait a minute. You're where you are, right? You're in Seattle.
I'm pretty sure I'm where I am.
Oh, that's true, because the show was taped, so okay. Because I've still never seen you two together, so I'm not sure yet about this.
I mean, you've seen our photographs together on the Old Observer website.
Yeah, but I've never seen you two together, and I have heard that you're the same person. That's what's being said, and I find it hard to believe, but I'm trying to get proof, and I do not have any proof that you're not him, other than you look different.
Well, I'm confident that I'm not Alex Marvez, but I can also confidently say that, in fact, we have not been in the same place together.
I've never seen you together.
You've also never seen me in the same place with Andre the Giant. Just want to throw that out there as well.
Yeah, but no, okay. Has anyone ever said, Bryan, you're Andre the Giant? Has anyone ever said that Andre the Giant wrote Death of WCW.
I haven't heard that yet.
One person ever said, has anyone ever said Alex Marvez wrote Death of WCW? Yes or no? Has anyone ever said that?
That has happened.
Okay, so there you go. So it's the Andre the Giant thing is immaterial.
Well, this fella here, billed as Alex Marvez, interviewed Jericho and Sammy.
He does look like the real Alex Marvez.
He does. He does to me, I think.
Yes. Well, I know. Anyways, I've known him since he's 15 years old or 16 years old. He's like a real good friend of mine.
Sammy and Jericho laugh that they beat Orange to a pulp. Jericho vows to beat the best friends, win the #1 contendership, win the titles. They're not best friends, he says. They're blood, and blood is thicker than orange juice. We have Tony with Britt Baker, and he announces he's there to interview her, but then he announces that it's going to be Penelope Ford versus Hikaru Shida at the Fyter Fest, and Britt is outraged. What are you doing talking about that? Tony, she says, you're in a lot of shit. TNT's going to be furious. You've just lost an interview with the role model, and our friendship is now in a timeout. Rebel, she says, get me out of here. But of course,
she never
the
calls
person driving...
Reba.
Yes.
Reba.
The person driving is Swole, who says, where to, doctor? An Undertaker line from like 25 years ago when Undertaker kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, and she zooms off with Britt Baker.
Yep.
We have Cody Arn out.
We actually get a conclusion of this later in the show.
Yes, we do. Cody and Arn come out. Arn cuts a promo saying, I know you can beat Hager. Timing is everything in this business. But today you have an opponent who is more than qualified. As your coach, I've done my work. I've checked it out. This is also a guy you can take it to and hone your skills. It's Ricky Starks.
This is Ricky Starks.
This guy.
Ricky Starks' tryout match. And they said
tryout match, and he passed.
And they mentioned that he's NWA, or I don't know if he still is, but he was NWA TV champion.
Yes, he was the NWA television champion. He was one of the highlights of that show. I was so happy to see him getting a chance here. He goes in there with Cody. I thought they had a very good match.
I liked the match a lot. I thought the match was, it was shorter than Cody's other title matches, but the match was pretty much what it should have been. You know,
Starks worked him over. He's got great poise. He just looked like he'd been doing this forever. He belonged here. Cody makes his big comeback. Starks cuts him off. They do this giant, all the way on the very top rope, superplex. Cody misses the disaster kick. Starks spears him. They trade some cradles. And finally, Cody drops him right on his head with the crossroads for the pin. I love this match. Afterwards, we find out that Ricky Starks has been signed to AEW, so he will be back.
I got a little more. During the match, I don't know what it is, but during the match, they were so impressed. This was his tryout. So, I mean, like the deal of, I mean, he was signed, he was signed like probably, after the match, which was this, because this is all taped on Thursday of last week. But this was not like he was signed and then they debuted him. This was a tryout, and midway through the match, he looked so impressive that they came up with a program for him and then signed him. So it's not just, he's signed like Anna Jay, or Abaddon or whatever. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, but they already have something in mind for him. So it was a great success for him. Now, during the match, Cody did a tope, okay? And JR just like went off on him for doing a tope. And it was like Larry Zbyszko bad. You know what I mean? Like when these guys do these moves, shouldn't you like put the move over?
Well, the way that I saw it, I could be totally wrong. The way I saw it is, this story is that Cody is out there and he's wrestling every single week, and he's got this big match coming up, and he's still going out there every single week. He's not taking any time off. And I felt like JR's point was, dude, like, you don't need to be taking any risks with the schedule that you're doing and the match that you've got coming up, like, you don't need to be doing this tope here. You didn't need to do, like, that's what he said. You didn't need to do it at this point in the match. It wasn't so much that he was burying him for doing a tope, but it was more like, you're in control. You threw this guy outside. Just like, go get him. There's no need to potentially kill yourself working the schedule you're working with that match coming up. That's what I got out of it. I could be wrong.
No, it makes some sense. I just don't like when like, to me, if you're a wrestler and you're gonna do something that's of some risk and of some excitement, it should be put over as, wow, that's great, as opposed to, what a dumb thing to do. I just don't see the point in, like if you miss a move in the storyline, then you made a mistake. But when you hit a move like that, unless you're getting up selling your knee and it's the story of the match and it's like, he hurt his knee doing that. But to bury a guy for a successful move just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it accentuates the product at all.
The Young Bucks, Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. This is another very good match.
This is really
Jimmy
good.
Havoc is constantly using gimmicks behind the referee's back. He used one of those signs that you put up after you wash the floor. He tried to use a mallet later on. So Nick makes his usual great comeback. Sharpshooter on Sabian. Matt drops an elbow on him. Matt's got his ribs all taped up. He's still... I can't even say selling. Like, he injured his ribs.
Okay, two things happened. In the Dustin Rhodes match, his gear... Did you see his gear fall apart in the match?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in this one, Matt's rib tape just kept coming, like, loose. And by the end, I don't think he even had it on.
Well, it's tape, and he's working hard, and he's sweating all over the place.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So Penelope snuck in after Havoc. So Havoc gets a mallet. The ref tries to take the mallet away. Penelope sneaks in, hits Matt with the sign. Somehow Kip ended up bleeding all over the place. The Bucks are going for the Meltzer driver. FTR and Butcher and Blade distract him. Butcher and Blade have been screaming at the Young Bucks throughout the match, so FTR came out to make sure nothing happened. The Bucks eventually kill Sabian with the Kamigoye. They get the pin.
What's the gimmick of Butcher and Blade? Because they dress like I'm trying to figure out how they're dressing. Like,
they work at a butcher shop.
That doesn't look like a butcher shop. Yeah, that was the gimmick that they were working at a butcher shop at one point. But they look like guys like out of like a different era, don't they? Like something out of the 40s or something.
Have you seen the Butcher? The Butcher looks like he's coming from like the 20s.
Yeah, well, I guess that's when he gets his clothes too.
Yeah. So they attack the Bucks afterwards. FTR makes the save. The greatest long-term storyline in AEW right now is the attempt to successfully execute the Shatter Machine on the Butcher. It didn't work last week. They decided they're going to try it again this week. It still didn't go off without a hitch. So it's almost like it's a guarantee they're going to try it again next week. But they hit it on him. Bucks and FTR hit stereo stuff pile drivers on Butcher and Blade, and they just kind of have a stare down as the...
It was on Blade and I think Havoc. It wasn't Butcher. They didn't stuff Butcher.
Butcher was he took the Shatter Machine. Yeah,
Butcher took the Shatter Machine. I think it was Havoc. It was either Havoc or Sabian.
We have this great Taz promo. He's cutting a promo on what Moxley said last week, and he says, "Listen, Moxley, you talk about being miserable. That was my gimmick. It was my gimmick from decades ago that you've taken from me. I'm going to teach you about misery." Cage cuts him off and says, I know you're frustrated, but Moxley brought this on by himself. I wish Fyter Fest was right now. I can't decide what I want most. The belt, dropping him on his head, and nobody is better than I am. And then Moxley does a tape promo where he explains that I have demons, real bad ones. The only thing that keeps them at bay is hurting people in the ring. Our paths have crossed. Cage, I'm going to beat you, and you better be able to survive the deep water I'm going to drag you into. So they have the following Fyter Fest matches. Cody, Jake Hager, Hikaru Shida, Penelope Ford, Jon Moxley versus Cage. And next week, Sammy Guevara, Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, and Colt Cabana versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. I guess if Colt Cabana signs the contract, that's what the deal they handed him was. Wardlow versus Luchasaurus lumberjack match. Natural Nightmares, FTR, and Jon Moxley in action with Taz doing commentary. Then we have Britt. She's in the dumpster. Reba finds her.
Maybe
thanks to the iPhone app.
Is that the same dumpster that the Viking Raiders and all those guys were in?
No, because there was a living carnivore in that one, and Britt was all alone.
Oh, that's right. There was like that alligator-looking thing, right?
Yes.
Wow.
So Britt wants to know where Tony is. Rebel says, well, you gave him a friendship timeout. And Britt says, well, he should still be here. You tell Swole she's going to literally pay for this. I'm going to sue her. I'm going to find her. She will never forget the day that she kidnapped Dr. Britt Baker. Now, this is a long-term storyline because she's not back for a while.
Yeah, she ain't going to be back for months.
Yeah. And finally, Les Sex Gods, Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Best Friends. Number one contendership on the line with Matt Hardy doing commentary. And another good match. We had heat on... I think it was Chucky first, and then Trent. Sammy dove onto both of them. Trent ended up in the walls, but got the ropes. Best Friends did this combo superplex. All sorts of big spots at the end. And then Sammy hits a shooting star. Trent kicks out. Sammy goes to hit the ropes.
I didn't like that. That was one move too many. That shooting star was too good looking to be a near fall. Like, he shouldn't have done it. It shouldn't have done it unless he was going to win with it. Or someone should have saved him.
So Sammy goes to hit the ropes, and the cameraman nonchalantly trips him. And everyone's confused. Trent hits the sit-down pile driver, gets the pin. The cameraman then gets up on the stage, takes off all of his stuff, and it's Orange Cassidy. And he tackles Jericho. He's pummeling him. Jericho shoves him off. Orange hits the big Superman punch, sends him packing. It's a good match, good little angle to set up the Jericho-Orange Cassidy match, and I thought a very good episode of Dynamite.
Oh, yeah, it was a good episode. I thought Sammy Guevara was fantastic in this match. Like, just whatever. Hardy was doing commentary, so they're, building him up, and they're the storyline.
Hardy's commentary is all putting over Sammy Guevara.
Well, the storyline,
that's all he does.
The storyline is that Hardy is trying to get Sammy Guevara to leave Chris Jericho and be a babyface and team with Matt Hardy.
Yes.
So that's like the long-term thing, and next week will be also part of that as well. But Sammy doesn't want to leave Chris Jericho. The whole story that Matt Hardy kept saying is that Sammy will never reach his potential because Jericho will always keep him underneath him, and the only way he can ever reach his potential is to leave Jericho. So that's the long-term story that they're trying to tell. And Sammy just, God, it's like, to pull this off, you've got to look great in your matches, because the whole idea is that you want to get the people to want you as a face for like months before you actually turn, so then when you turn, it'll mean something.
And of course, one of the keys to that is people. So we need large crowds back before I would pull the trigger on this one.
Yeah, but the other thing is that he has to look good in these matches, because people have to want it, and if he doesn't look good, they're not going to care. And he freaking looked. I mean, he was so on his game in this match. I mean that's why the match, it wasn't a one-man match. Obviously, Jericho's got all the great timing and knows what to do, and Best Friends are a good team. I mean, they both of them look good, but it was really, the match was definitely there to highlight Sammy Guevara.
NXT opens up with Imperium versus Breezango for the tag team titles.
Okay, so last week the whole story is that Breezango are getting rid of all the comedy and they're going to be serious. So the first thing they do is comedy.
No, Dave. No. They made it abundantly clear in that video that they're still going to be wacky during their entrance to entertain the fans. But as soon as the bell rings, it's going to be serious. That was what they said.
Okay, but Fandango was still doing dancing in the match.
Well, Fandango is Fandango. They jumped Breeze after the entrance because Breezango, they did the Imperium entrance, mocked the music, etc.
Pretty. I actually kind of like that Imperium entrance. Mocking that. That was pretty cool.
So they jumped Tyler Breeze and they beat the hell out of this guy forever. And they beat him and they beat him and they beat him. This match was bizarre, by the way. So they're beating on Breeze. Breeze tags Fandango. Fandango makes a comeback, and in the middle of the comeback, they go to commercial. They come back from commercial. The last thing we saw was Fandango doing a comeback. They come back from commercial, and they're beating on Tyler Breeze again. It was like the match rewound, and they beat on Breeze, and they beat on Breeze, and then Fandango gets hot tag again. He runs wild a second time. And Lorcan and Birch and Indus all end up at ringside. They're all brawling. Bartel knocks Tyler on all of them outside. Eichner DDTs Fandango and gets the pin. Lot going on here at the end. And the match was all right. It was just weird.
Bartel's really good. He's Imperium was a good team. Match was good. I mean, it was... was not as good as the AEW tag matches, but it was all right.
Then we had another bizarre segment. Velveteen Dream is in his room or whatever. He's on his couch, and the question is, what's next for you? And he says, I have no recollection of losing to Adam Cole. As he's talking, Dexter Lumis sneaks up behind his couch, and he puts a picture on the couch of the two of them as tag team champions. Velveteen is not freaked out, creeped out that this dude is in his room. He just looks at the drawing and says, this is a misunderstanding. Dexter helped me. I helped Dexter, but I am a solo act. And he calmly leaves. Obviously, they're building up to Velveteen and Dexter Lumis winning the tag team titles. But this is weird. Dude, better that than beating Adam Cole.
It's brutal. I mean, Velveteen's stock has just dropped so much. I mean, maybe when fans come back, it'll go back up. But like the promo, I mean, I didn't get into the promo. Just couldn't get in. The idea that he doesn't remember his match. I mean, and he's a babyface. Just weird. Just weird.
Damian Priest arrives. Cameron Grimes is shown lurking in the background. Then we have Damian Priest versus Killian Dane. This match was all right. Crowd, whose job is to be alive, was just dead. Dane worked over his back after he tweaked it. Priest makes a comeback. Dane runs him over with the running high cross, and Priest eventually hits the Reckoning, gets the pin. It was there.
Yeah, I don't know. I expected better, honestly, on that one. It was okay. But, very clear that Priest is a guy that they really want to do something with. And poor Dane, he's a talented guy, and he just doesn't have a spot.
We have an Hijo del Fantasma video package. He's going to rewrite the history of Lucha Libre in his own words. The feud that will never end. Xia Li and Aaliyah.
Oh, this match sucked.
Aaliyah's on her way to the ring, and she finds Robert Stone passed out with a bottle near the entrance. She drags him to the ring. I already can't believe what I'm seeing, but it only gets worse. Xia makes comeback. Stone stumbles up onto the ring apron. He vomits everywhere in the ring. Aaliyah rolls up Xia Li. Xia Li kicks out. Aaliyah has to hold her down for the pin. I don't know what happened here.
I mean, it was very clear that
that
Xia Li did not think it was the finish, and Aaliyah did think it was the finish.
Yeah. This is what happens when NXT goes live.
Yeah. They couldn't edit it, but it was just bad. Now, what's the deal? Like, okay, like who's getting off on this Robert Stone stuff? Because this was the one time when I'm watching this going like, and really, there's a couple of things on this show that made me think this. That's like Vince is taking over. He's tired of the ratings, and he's because this throw up thing was just so Vince McMahon. It's like, it's just so anti what they're doing. And the whole Robert Stone thing, unless there's like some kind of a, some inside message, and I can imagine what that is supposed to be, but it's just like, how are you going to get any seriousness out of Robert Stone after this act? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just burying him so bad.
We have a Timothy Thatcher segment. He's running his Thatch as Thatch Can class. Tortures these dudes. That explains it's just the first day. Next time the real work begins. We have an Undisputed Era video. They want to cheer up Roddy. He's in a terrible mood. He's got PTSD from being locked in a trunk. Adam says, we're going to get you professional help. This guy's the best. You can then be you again. They take him to the doctor. The doctor is Kyle O'Reilly in disguise. Roderick Strong does not know who it is. Roderick is talking about his horrible memories of Dexter Loomis. They want him to do the ink blot test. He keeps seeing Dexter in the trunk, starts freaking out. Kyle tells him, you've got to face your fears. You've got to face the trunk. Roddy says, I need more time. Adam and Bobby says, no, we're going to go face the trunk. They take him outside. They show him the trunk. He runs for his life. And then Adam thinks, aside from running away, that went pretty well. That was
this was really stupid. This was another one where I was watching it going like, is like, this felt like, a Raw SmackDown more than an NXT. It's almost like you guys are losing in the ratings. We're gonna give the people, we're gonna do what brings ratings, which is, I'm not saying it is, but it's what Vince thinks it is. It seems like to me, because it's like, I don't know. I just thought this segment was bad.
Well, another callback to the main roster. Mackenzie asks Adam Cole a very stupid question. What message do you think this hourglass is sending? Adam's aghast. Keith Lee walks up. He says, Cole, your time with that title is limited. He says, you're not going to lose it to Cross, you're going to lose it to me. Then he breaks the hourglass. So we had the big setup for the upcoming match. Adam Cole comes out, cuts promo, actually calls him Killian Cross, has to correct himself. Talks about the North American title and Keith Lee. Keith Lee comes out, he wants the belt. Gargano comes out, says he pinned Keith Lee, he wants the belt. Balor comes out, says they're all marks for themselves. Tells Keith Lee he's held titles all over the world, but never the North American title. Says it's not a challenge, it's a warning. And after that, I'm coming for you, Cole. You've been a good transitional champion. Cole says, transitional champion? I beat your old record. So finally, Regal shows up, announces Lee, Gargano, Balor in a three-way. Winner of that match faces Cole July 8th. Champion versus champion, winner takes all. So Regal just like on the fly decided he was going to unify both these titles?
He said he had a great idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Coincidentally, head-to-head with Fyter Fest, unifying these two titles.
Yep. Well, that's. I mean, it's very clear that they're right now. When I watch the show, the one thing that was real clear to me is like, for a while, it just felt like that they had. It wasn't like they were worried about competition. They were just kind of doing their own thing, and I mean, they were competing, but they were doing their own thing. Now it was very clear that this is, reacting to competition. That they're going to have a big show on July the 8th, which will probably be the Moxley Cage match. So they're going to go and they're going to try to, do the best thing they can do, which is a long, build up with their top guys and ending up with unification of the belts going head to head. And then just all these other things like throwing up and stuff, which the other side isn't going to do. And very Raw-like paced, not the Heyman Raw, but the Pritchard Raw. Very much felt like the same thing where you have like a lot of short matches, a lot of talk, way more vignettes. It just felt like change of philosophy.
We had Kane Cross, Dakota Kai, quick match. Raquel tried to interfere. Casey dove onto her. Raquel caught her, slammed her on the apron. Dakota rolled up Caden, put her in her submission, and got the win. Pretty much by the numbers.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Didn't look good either.
Scarlett found her broken hourglass. Karrion walks up, stomps a piece of glass. We had a Mercedes Martinez video package. I guess she's coming back. Mm-hmm. Bronson Reed.
Well, that should help a lot. Mercedes Martinez is really good. So that should because their women's division. I mean, Io's really good, but the rest of it, they definitely don't have the depth that they've had in the past, and a lot of the two women's matches on this show were not good.
So Bronson Reed destroys Leon Ruff in like 20 seconds, and then he cuts his promo and says, "I'm not one to forget," and he's calling out Karrion Kross for next week. So I guess he is being fed to Karrion on next week's NXT.
Big meal.
Yeah. Outside, Damian Priest finds his tires slashed. Cameron Grimes drives by, offers to get him an Uber. So that feud must continue. We have Santos Escobar and his crew out.
So how many baby faces are getting their car wrecked? I mean, there's a freaking plague going around that Orlando place. They need to get better security in that parking lot because these baby faces are getting their cars destroyed on a weekly basis.
What you do is you need to not park there. You need to get an Uber taking you there.
I guess so. Because these guys between Cameron Grimes and Miz and Morrison and who were the guys the other night that somebody else?
Well, no, Braun Strowman's car keeps getting destroyed.
Right. Yeah. Who were the other guys that messed up Braun Strowman's car?
It was during the Street Profits Viking Raiders match.
Right. The Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. Yeah. They just keep messing up these, Yeah. But so, how do we know that it was Cameron Grimes that messed up the car? I mean, they should have at least given us...
he pretty much No, we know because when Damian Priest arrived, way in the background, you could see Cameron Grimes lurking around.
But that's circumstantial. But the thing is like they should have had surveillance camera footage to show later, so at least Damian Priest would know who it is.
Well, Cameron Grimes pretty much admitted it when he drove by laughing and then speeding off.
I guess. So, because they're doing a match based on that, so... There you go.
We have Santos Escobar and his crew coming out, and he says Hijo del Fantasma was once known as the best lucha libre artist ever. Ever, he says.
I don't think he was ever known as that.
But when you wear a mask, that's all the world sees, a guy in a mask. My father, Fantasma, always told me I'd be a leader, not a luchador. I'm going to be the leader of leaders, and we will leave a legacy, the legacy of Fantasma. Drake Maverick comes out, says, "Wow, you fooled everybody, you fooled me. People say I have more guts and brains, and they're right." And he hits the ring, and they're beating the absolute hell out of him. And then Santos gives him the Phantom Driver through a table to the cement, and Drake hit 99% cement. Oh, that looked like it sucked. Hopefully this guy's all right.
Oh, that he missed the table.
That was brutal.
Oh, God, it looked bad, yeah.
So he's dead. They stretcher him out afterwards, and there's Jake Atlas helping him out. So I guess we're going to do a tag feud, and we'll see where that goes. And then finally, Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart versus Bayley and Sasha for the tag team titles. So these four, I don't think have ever worked each other. It's live. They're not all there training at the Performance Center all the time and practicing. It was a little clunky early, but by the end, I thought they had a pretty good match, and they gave the NXT women a lot. Shotzi was doing all sorts of things.
It's the best I've ever seen Shotzi Blackheart look, and I thought that Bayley and Sasha Banks did a really, really good job of carrying this match.
So we got a quadruple down. Banks got the bank statement on Shotzi. Shotzi switched into her submission. Bayley tried to bring a chair in, but Tegan stopped her. The ref sees Tegan with the chair, throws it outside. Bayley then reverses the pile. Sasha puts the bank statement on Shotzi and gets the submission. This match was way better than I expected. And then, as soon as it's over, and I'm all excited because it's a really good match, they announce that it is Bayley and Sasha versus the Iconics on Raw.
Yeah, we already
Good luck with that one.
It'll be all right.
That match.
It'll be all right.
Will, I'm going to take your word
It'll
for
be all right. It'll be all right.
So then, and I don't even know what happened here, Io Shirai hit the ring, and she
went wild.
She just ran wild on Bayley and Sasha and sent her packing, or sent both of them packing, and then just celebrated. I mean, they didn't tease that she wanted Bayley's title. I mean, they didn't tease that she's got a partner. It was just like she ran wild, and that's how the show ended.
Yeah, well, they're going to do something, so it'll probably, I don't know, it'll either be her. You know, they could do her and Sasha Banks in a singles match, because I think that the other theme that like I said, it's really clear that they're not, this show was real clear to me that they're changing the philosophy, and one of the things is probably going to be more main roster stuff, more main roster people on that show. Also, the other thing is, it does look like no more Charlotte Flair. So she did that whole run, and you'll see it make sense. I think we're not going to see it make sense after all.
Dude, I'm giving him 1 month. It's been a week, maybe.
But they haven't even done anything in any direction. Like
there is zero direction. It is definitely not looking good.
There was no promo from Rhea Ripley. There was no promo from Io Shirai. There was nothing about, hey, Charlotte Flair, you owe us one or something. It's just like that storyline's over. That's what it looks like to me.
Great. Well, add that to the list of things very much like the main roster. All right, everybody. When's the Observer up? Tomorrow?
Yeah, sometime tomorrow. I'm so far behind, but it'll be up.
That was why I asked. Are we on track for Thursday?
Oh, it's brutal. Tomorrow's going to be a brutal day, but it is what it is.
Well, that'll be coming up tomorrow, everybody. The back issue is up on the front page right now. We got a whole bunch of shows up on the front page, all sorts of great stuff, so check that out. And that's it, everybody. We will talk to you again after a while.